Hey there, Dude Abides here. I just wanted to get back to you one more time with this character we've been talking about, the Magic Find Autobomb Chieftain. This is my final update for this character with this specific strategy in mind. Definitely going to play around with it in some other applications, but I figured I'd give you my kind of final thoughts, last update on this strat with this character. So I made a few more, I did a couple hundred more runs in the Crimson Temple, got pretty ass luck. I think I got a total of one more apothecary and I think 200 more runs. And I was getting like 12 gamblers per run on average. So, with an expected about one apothecary per, I think it's like 500 gamblers or something like that. I'm pretty far in the hole with apothecary. Uh, Still made money. Didn't make as much as I should have. Whatever. I'm still what I would consider fairly rich, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway, uh, definitely a profitable and successful strategy on the cheap. As far as most things are considered, if you want to compare this to your standard Magic Find tornado shot character, your bow's going to be really expensive. You're going to be running Mage Blood, etc., etc. With this character, you get to squeeze out a little bit more item rarity, a little bit more item quantity, and you can still run these maps fairly comfortably, fairly quickly. I was doing my Crimson Temples in about 10 minutes. So, um, just wanted to run down some of the changes I ended up with because I did sort of evolve the build as I was playing, as I felt I needed to. So, this helmet, first off, was running this tricorn. Now, this is good, and you can still run this, and it's great. The thing is, like, you're gonna die, right? Like, uh, it's gonna happen, and when it does happen, you're gonna lose your ghost buff, and then this is just doing basically fuck all for you. I mean, cannot be shocked is cool, but other than that, once you die, um, that tormented spirit touched buff is gone, and presumably you've touched all the spirits on your first run through, so you're not going to be getting another one. You're not going to be getting that buff back, and this is doing nothing. So I decided to take some of my money and invest it into this new hat. Um, the enchantment obviously does not matter, um, and I didn't feel the need to re-enchant it because it just wasn't worth it. There's nothing really that advantageous. I don't need the mana efficiency with the 9% mana reservation from, I think it's Eater. It does need to be the Grand. You're running pretty tight on mana with this setup, but this will do it. What you see here is sufficient, and I'm not running 4% um, Enlightened Jewels anymore. I've just got the 2 3%. So um, saved a little bit of money there, but you do need the 9% implicit on the hat, and you also need the 10% increased mana reservation efficiency essence mod. So on this, I think I bought this for like 15 div, something like that. So again, investing a little bit more in the into the build, but I got some more survivability out of it. As you can see, the extra fizz taken as fire is nice, especially when you're running Greed's Embrace over the far superior but not as greedy Cloak of Flame. So, um, increased rarity is cool. I figured I'd invest a little bit extra rarity find in the build as well. Just for especially not because I'm like trying to get another Calandra's Touch or T1 uniques or whatever, but you get a lot more like leather hoods and things like that. But you also get the big conversions, so getting these big scarab pops are pretty great, and the extra rarity is going to help with that. So, the other implicit I've got here is the increased area of effect, which brought me, you know, exactly to what I need. The 9% was just enough to hit the next breakpoint. This could also easily be, and it's probably better as physical hits taken as fire, I think you can get on there. Um, or maybe it's fire damage recouped as life. One of the two of those. Either is good. Okay, so that's the hat. Um, the belt I've switched over to a string of servitude with 12% increased quant. I think I got this for 1.5 div, 2 div, something like that. You can go crazy expensive and get the full priced one, um, or the full 15% one, but those go up to like 25D, something like that. So it's quite a bit more expensive for marginal gain. Um, and quick thing I forgot about that I do want to mention is as I was running all those temples, one thing that came up that was quite annoying was the alter mod that reduces your life and mana recovery rate per endurance charge on you. And as you know, we're stacking endurance charges, or not really stacking, but putting at least some effort into stacking some endurance charges. Not going crazy, but enough to make it that when you hit that alter mod, especially the Righteous Fire, you're going to be hurting if you're not constantly killing things to recoup life and recoup charges for your life flask. A lot of times I was just able to ignore that, especially if it happens earlier in the map and you're just running and killing and everything's groovy. But later on in the map, it can be very annoying. If there's a few mobs left, if there's a couple, you know there's a couple chests you haven't opened yet, and you're like running around to get them. That mod can be quite obnoxious. So the thing I like to do is to swap this Arn's Anguish with a cute little rarity mod corruption on there. Obviously that can be anything. And we just pop that into the belt, and that prevents us from generating endurance charges and makes us use or generate brutal charges instead. Also gives you some more survivability, 15% max life, pretty cool. Extra fire resistance, also pretty cool. So yeah, easy swap into this belt, and that will take away the negative effects of that alter mod. And the other change I made, kind of a big change here, was in getting Divination distillate into the build. This is kind of a pain in the ass item to use, but it does give you a reasonable buff while it's up. It's only up for 5 seconds, and if you use quality on it, you're not going to increase that time. You're just going to recover more life and mana during that 5 seconds, which is actually a bad thing, and we'll get into that in a moment. So you want to leave this unqualitied, but we're not pushing that many buttons in this build, so hitting this once every 5 seconds, really not that big a deal, and I think it's worth the effort. You also get a nice little 50% extra elemental resistances, which again, because we are Chieftain, translates into a bit more mana regen, health regen. How do we fit that in there? Well, we have to change our tree around a little bit. And we've removed one of the cluster jewels that used to be up here. Now that was giving us, I think it was Fan the Flames and the duration, the other duration node. I forget what it's called. So basically I've just taken those two mandatory nodes, the Fan the Flames and Master of Fire, put them on one. We sacrificed quite a bit of skill effect duration for that and a little bit of damage, but it's okay. Because we have sufficient of both, so we can put both of these nodes on one, and then we can get a bunch of extra that saves us 4 points. So with those 4 points, we path down 1, 2, and then we take Mind Over Matter. So Mind Over Matter is going to take damage from our mana before our life. We have almost no mana, so with Righteous Fire on, this is going to make it so we never have mana. It's also going to increase our damage from Fire Trap a little bit, which is also kind of cool to start the pops off. We've got more than enough recovery to sustain this, and this will make sure that we never have mana, so when we go and hit our Divination Distillate, it goes for the entire 5 seconds, and we get full use out of that. If we don't have the Righteous Fire up, and we try to use the Divination Distillate because of the way it works, it turns off once it fills our mana up. Why is it not doing that? Why is it working without Righteous Fire on? That's quite odd. I'm missing something. It shouldn't work without that. I'm clearly missing something, or maybe we just don't need Righteous Fire, but I'm pretty sure we do. I don't know why that's working that way. But in any case, if you can figure it out, if you're smarter than me, let me know in the comments. Yeah, curious. Anyway, that's how I got it to work, and it works pretty nicely. That also brings us into close proximity to this other cluster, or this little jewel socket, and I just threw in some nice, a little bit of extra damage, a little bit extra life, and some chaos res. I also threw on some extra chaos res with these tattoos here. Alright, one little thing I forgot to mention in earlier videos was the importance of a defensive layer we get from this corrupted implicit here, the reduced extra damage from critical strikes, 50% off that, and then we get 30% from this mastery down here. and then we cap off the final 20% with 10% here and here, and that makes us totally immune to the extra damage from critical strikes. Really big deal. Pretty cheap to get this. So for very, very, very little investment, we get a very strong layer of defense in that right there. All right, another small change that you can change if you want to. I haven't felt the need to, but it was brought to my attention, and I did not know this. I find this to be pretty not obvious, non-intuitive. But this line here, enemies ignited by you during effect take 10% increased damage. Now, when you inflict an ignite upon an enemy, and then it gets reflected back onto you, it will actually impart that 10% increased damage onto yourself as well. So when this is up and you ignite somebody, you're going to get that 10% increased damage taken, which is kind of a big deal, kind of a lot. So if you're feeling kind of squishy, you can take this off and just replace it with something like this. The increased attack speed during effect is also going to increase the attack speed of your movement skill, your shield charge, so it's a nice little added benefit. But you also get, it's weird because you take 10% more damage, yes, but you also get the life recovery from this being up, but it's also not as up as often as this because it takes more charges, etc., etc. So there's trade-offs. I'll let you decide which one you prefer, but both good. All right. What else have I done? I have changed my Watcher's Eye a little bit. I figured I didn't really need the damage from the Malevolence mod, so we went with this one. It's a nice little role player. You're probably not going to be able to find this. I'm sure you won't with this specific setup of nodes. Yeah, nothing. So Fizz taking his fire is great to have. Let's see if we unclick that. It's, a few available of these two mods. Unaffected by poison while affected by malevolence, pretty good to have as well. It's nice. Not necessary. And having phasing while affected by haste is pretty great. You need phasing. You have to have phasing all the time. So I like to have this up on a jewel. It's pretty cheap to get this, so I would say like get this and this, prioritize something like that, because if you run out of phasing, you're going to be screwed. And we can get full phasing uptime with the proper skill setup, and we had it in previous versions of the build. It doesn't have it anymore because we took away that extra skill effect duration off these clusters. I think we lost 30% skill effect duration, so that brings down our phase run, even with the increased duration support, to 3.83 seconds. So there's you're going to be running, and then you're going to be like pausing for a quick second and then running fast again. So you saw it right there happen. And it doesn't seem like a big deal, and it's like not the biggest deal, so either you can live with it, but sometimes you're going to get caught in a mob pack, and it's going to be just enough to ruin your day. So, you can deal with that how you like, either just dealing with it, just forgetting about it, or you can run that haste node on your Watcher's Eye jewel, or you can run anomalous phase run, which cuts down on the amount of movement speed you get. You can see from the quality I'm getting 10% movement speed from this quality, or you can run the anomalous one, which is going to solve your duration problems there. So that is the Watcher's Eye. Let's see, I think that was pretty much all I wanted to go over. I guess I'll go over the 6th link again really quick because they did update it. This phase run, enduring cry are both duration. It's nice to have duration on those. And it's nice to have duration on your Immortal Call. So I put all these three together with the increased duration and life tap, because this build has 0 mana, so everything has to be used with life tap support. And over here we got the life tap with the Frostblink, Portal cast on death. Again, this build is, for what it is, it's pretty tanky, right? But you're going to die, okay? You're going to die. So having cast on death with Portal is important, I think. Also, the Val Breach is important, because sometimes you're going to go into the final boss room, you might think you have a big Hinakura pop on you, but you don't, or it runs out, or something happens, and it's nice to be able to hit that Val Breach and generate another source of Ignite that you can then use to kill the boss. Otherwise, it can be a real slog trying to kill them with righteous fire and fire trap. It can be done. It's just you want to avoid that. Um, all right, I think that is just about it for the final version of this build. Oh no, sorry, two more things. In the ghosting phase, when you're running through the map and you're doing the ghosting, I like to slap this guy on here. I know Snoobay has been doing this as well. It just basically makes you immortal. You don't have to, you're not killing anything in this phase, so you're just running around, and this is going to give you the ease of, you know, the ability to, like, if you see a ghost and he's right next to a big pack of monsters, you know, with this on, you can just chill and see if he's going to run through it and touch them all himself before you go and collect it and then spread it elsewhere, right? So it just lets you be more comfortable and kind of move at your own pace through the ghosting phase and not worry about dying. Pretty useful thing to have there. Then when I usually go and just kill the map boss with this in place, and then once he's dead, I swap back over to my Biscos. Easy peasy. Alright, the other change I made is finding this Parapecia to be probably the best in slot shield for this particular build, for shield charging around. Shield charge is interesting. It has three phases. It has an initial attack phase, it has the movement phase in the middle, and it has the attack phase at the end. So the attack phase in the beginning and the attack phase at the end are affected by global attack speed, and then the phase in the middle, the travel phase, the one we care about the most, is affected by global attack speed as well as movement speed. So this Parapecia mod it has two mods. This shield has two mods that are important: the increased movement speed as well as the increased attack speed, both global. Perfect. Got a huge roll variance. They're not very expensive. This shield is otherwise quite dog, but for this particular aspect, or this particular application, it's quite good. I think I overspent because I was feeling baller, and I paid like a div or something for a maxed attack speed and movement speed roll on this shield. I also, again, like the Screaming Eagle, gives us 10% more movement speed. Just makes our shield charge pretty snappy. You can see, pretty good. Not terrible. I got no flasks up, nothing like that. If I pop my flasks, I'm moving pretty quick around my hideout here. So you can cruise through the ghost phase, do this. I feel like the lack of movement speed, the movement speed we lost from having this Fairgraves Tricorn is kind of made up for. It's fast enough if you're buzzing around the map with shield charge. It's pretty good. Alright, so if you guys have any questions or comments or anything like that, feel free to ask me, add down in the links in the comments below. I'll put up the POB to this setup, and there's one more thing I wanted to go over, little bonus piece. I wanted to show you guys how to craft the best quiver in the game. Alright, I know it's a big claim, but we all know what it is. It, of course, is right here. So, to get this, it's important that it's magic, and the easiest way to go ahead and do it, or the you know, kind of basic way, is to just go ahead and grab your base quiver, and then just slam it with alteration orbs until you get the mods you want. It can be a little tedious. Just to save some time, you can go ahead and get one of these mods as a fractured mod, and that cuts down your time to roll it significantly. I've got another one over here, right? And you can see the, you know, some people say that this quiver is similar enough that it's okay, but we know that they're just compensating. We know that they are just rationalizing a quiver that is ultimately not as good. So we're going to take that and we're going to go over to our stash tab here, and we're going to just scour that, and we're going to go ahead and just roll alts on it until we hit what we want, right? Another a way to make this easy is throw it on fire, and when we hit a fire mod eventually, I missed one back there, but I won't bore you with the tedium of doing this, but this is basically, you just hit this until you hit that very important fire mod. You know, it's got to be tier 7 on your prefix, and you have to have tier 8 on your suffix, right? So getting that fractured, right? Let's go ahead and see how much one of these fractures are. Alright, so look, 6 chaos. easy, 6 chaos, right? Don't overpay for this nonsense, right? Don't give in to the scammers. Get something reasonable. And there you go. You can have your quiver uh, for all of your linking in local good times. Alright guys, if you like this, go ahead and like and subscribe, and thanks a lot for watching. I'm going to go ahead and make some runs through. I'm going to change this build significantly and see if I can get some good results in Sanctum, and then see, we already know we can get good results in Blight, right? But let's just see how incredibly easy we can make Blight, how much we can clown on Blight. So yeah, I'm gonna put out a Blight video for sure, and I'm gonna put out, hopefully, I think this build will be very successful in simulacrum. So see if we can get some good simulacrum farm and some good Blight farm. And until then, good luck out there, and I will see you later.